There's some disagreements about where the children should go, where they should be placed, who's actually willing to keep them, that kind of thing.
So placement, is the overall goal still reunification?
Not with the mother.
Okay, we'll just keep placement there for now. If you want to just give us an overview of why the agency is involved, I'm going to jot down a couple of the concerns as you're talking, just because typically we're done this in the family team meeting. But if you could just give us kind of a bare bones overview of why you guys are involved.
So we got involved because we received reports, that Mr. Brown apparently there was an issue before with the case we had previously, that he was around the kids and he wasn't supposed to be around the kids, so we went to do an investigation and there was allegations of drug use. So the mom was drug screened and she fell, for marijuana. And the children were drug screened, later on. And the youngest one, I believe it was the youngest one, he fell for marijuana as well.
Okay.
May I speak? Can I say something? The first case that you're talking about, I was never contacted by nobody. I've never been to prison and served my prison sentence on it. Okay, the whole time I was in prison, nobody contacted me. I had 7 months before I went to prison when I was on bond, nobody contacted me. She gave Willie Lynch is his name, my several numbers, my house number in Texas, both my parents' cell phone numbers and my cell phone number. So I was never contacted on any case. As a matter of fact, the lawyer who handled my case, the criminal side of it, who at the time I had also filed for divorce with, he also checked with DSS before he even took my case. To make sure
But
he knew what he was
this
getting
is all
himself into.
Past issues,
I
right?
understand, but I'm just letting her know that
She,
that
I know
case has nothing to do with it.
she was just mentioning what the allegations were.
Right, the
That's all.
allegations, that's all I'm saying.
But the allegations had nothing to do with him.
The allegations have nothing to do with it.
On this case, he is completely irrelevant. He was in prison when the allegations were made on me.
Right. He's not irrelevant though because he's the father.
No, not now, but when the case started,
Okay.
he was not even
I was
around. He was in
I mean,
prison.
The allegations were brought up against her,
Mhm.
for one. For two, I mean, that other case was never
But let me-
existed.
She was just
Right, let me say
recapping what
this.
the
It's a
allegations
report,
were,
Mr.
that's
Steve.
all.
She asked why, I can't make up why people report, that's
When we spoke the first day I got out of prison, Ms. Cullen, that's not what you told me. You told me
Yes.
that this had nothing to do with that case.
No, I
Oh,
didn't,
yes,
sir.
ma'am, you
No, 'cause
did.
I'm gonna tell you this, cause
And I
you
told
had
you
the
I
same.
didn't even really want to sign the treatment plan
You
because of the
did,
simple
but you
fact.
had the same argument that you're having now, so you did. Right, and so when you asked what the purpose was, that's why we're involved.
Yes, okay. Okay. And she was just sharing what the allegations were. We don't need to rehash everything, and it's not, it doesn't matter, we're not talking about that case right now, if that's what your
Then
question
why does
was.
it keep being brought up?
Because it was an
That's
allegation.
the report, she
That's
asked
all.
why we were involved, that's the
It
report
was
we
just an
received, that's not
allegation.
saying you did anything, that's the report we received on it. That's why we, the investigator went out and investigated it, okay? That was just a report, that's all.
Okay.
So let's talk about what some of the family strengths are before we get too much into the concerns. And that's open for anybody. What are some of the family strengths?
That there's family here.
Yeah.
Right.
They showed up for the
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary.
Can I?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Can I? Hang on there.
Drew,
Uh-huh.
Miriam's husband wanted to be present via phone, I forgot all about it.
Okay, that's fine.
Are you still there? Okay, should I put it on speakerphone? And the fact that it is maternal and paternal.
I'm sorry.
Both sides of the family.
Both sides of the family.
I'm
It's
sorry, what?
maternal and paternal. Lots of times it's one-sided, it's
I
all
gotcha.
maternal, now it's maternal and paternal. Yes. You still there?
What are some other strengths?
That we're not gonna give up on our children, period.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Me and the mother are not giving up on our children, period.
Okay.
I've still supported my kids through this entire year, through the case.
That's great. Do you mean that you've provided?
Food, clothes,
Food,
Christmas,
okay.
birthdays. And the only other people that's helped with that is Renee and James. Nobody else has provided for them.
I wasn't aware of nothing happening, so now I would have provided. I just found out.
The only thing you did was $100 for Aiden's birthday, or the other kids' birthdays.
Are you working?
I do.
Do you work full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
I think being with James and Renee right now is the best place.
That's we're talking about family strengths, not that.
Well, and it's great to have family that was
Yeah.
willing to take placement.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm gonna say that that is a strength.
Especially for
not everybody
children.
has that. Do you have your own transportation?
I do.
And what about any resources you have? Have you been to the Forester Center, any counseling?
I've only been referred once. Shante actually told me at the last meeting that she would find my first referral. Because my first 4 months at SADAC of this case, I was not in treatment. I was already in SADAC for probation due to drug charges I got in 2015. And the investigative worker, which was Vincia Nebo, she told me just to continue going to that probation and that would be sufficient. Apparently that treatment, that SADAC was not treatment. So I've asked her to please get me the referral where they referred me at the beginning of this case. And I was hoping to see that today.
But you're aware of.
But I did
SADAC
go
and
to
what they
SADAC
provide.
when April of this year was the first SADAC treatment I've had through this entire case.
Are there any other strengths or resources that you guys want to know? Are you working?
Currently, no,
Okay.
There's been transportation issues since I've been home I just got out of prison 5 months ago. And at the time
I was only asking because I didn't want to, I didn't want it to be only mom focused when it came to stuff like that. That's all. You don't have to explain
This
yourself.
is my husband again. Okay, I guess we lost connection. Can I ask for a bottle of water if you don't mind? I see you have some, please. Sure, thank you. I'm coming down with a cold or something. Thank you.
Okay, and then for concerns, I have drug use up here as a concern. What do you see could be an impact of that?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If a parent is using any kind of substances, what do you think could be an impact of that on the kids?
As far as my hand goes, it could cause them to follow the same path I took. I'm not going to say that I neglected my kids because my son was a straight A student. I chose myself to get clean. I was 2 weeks clean. I know that's not a lot, but for a personal decision, it's a lot for me. We were in church. I had us involved in church. I was volunteering at the church. I showed up for everything at school. My daughter.
What do you think in general, though? Do you think everybody that uses drugs and has kids does that?
No, I don't think everyone does that.
Okay. So, I mean, in a hypothetical sense, it doesn't necessarily have to be. just
I'm not
about
talking about hypothetical. I'm talking about me. I don't know about everyone else.
It's gonna make the kids grow up and confused, broken.
Yeah.
They're gonna have no guidance.
Ma'am,
2 weeks is a big deal.
it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Other concerns?
Drugs is.
That's the biggest one. Is that's a non-negotiable, I'm assuming? And what are you looking for that to be met? Clean drug screens? What about concerns that the family has?
Family.
What concerns?
I have concerns of, the children have been through so much already, and they need a stable environment to stay. No bouncing around, no anything. They love their mama. I've never saw them but a few times interact with their daddy, but, you know, know they loved him too. But it's really affected them being away from her. It really is. I see it, I hear it. And they've came a long way in the 13 months they've been with me, but it's still something heavy on their mind all the time. This case is just
It's
really
been emotionally difficult for them.
It's extreme.
Beyond emotional. The way Aiden cries when it's time for him to go home.
And did you say confusion? Or that they're confused?
Yeah, they have confusion. They're constantly let down because we keep hoping for 3 more months, and then they would get to go back home. You know, we're hoping and praying every 3 months, and they'll, you know, they're asking. I try not to tell them too many details, but the oldest, he's almost 10 and nosy as all get out, so you can't hardly have a phone conversation or anything. But he tries to involve himself a lot in the case and what's going on. He had a lot of problems with blaming. He blamed Shantae. He blamed his daddy. He blamed everybody. And his mom did have a talk with him that it's her fault. You know, she did say that to him and, you know, worry about his judgment. And I've explained to him about drug addiction, about it being a disease, you know, and it's a lot for their little minds to comprehend.
I also told Jojo, I told him how proud I am of him because he has stepped up and been the man of the house.
Yeah, he wants to be grown.
Either way, I would have been out of the household anyway because I had to go do a stunt. But yeah, Joseph has definitely done his part, but it's also taken. I think he's going through a lot more than the other two as far as my stepkids go. But honestly, I think it's affecting Aiden and Joseph worse.
I think it affected all 4 of them
I
equally.
mean, of course, it affects all 4 of them equally, but as far as actually showing it, I mean, Aiden's terrified when he has to go back to Renee's house.
He stays at Renee's house.
That's just a normal child. They're afraid to be away from.
They have separation.
Mommy and daddy.
When they came to me,
Separation, yes.
Joseph was really the only one that I had any sort of a relationship with, and it had been years since I had been around him. He was at my house a lot when he was a baby. And then things didn't work out. My stepson, you know, was this. In a life, out of a life. It's a constant mess. And so the other children, of course, I had saw them, but spent any time or anything. So when they came to me and their papa, it was like pretty much come to strangers. And if it hadn't have been the 4 of them together, I don't know what would have happened. Because for the first month, Aiden, the baby, he cried. And now he, you know, he's at home, he's in the refrigerators, whatever. But
He's comfortable.
yeah, he loves us and we love him, and he's not biologically our grandson, but you know, I was never gonna put him out anywhere because he had a different father than the other children. It wasn't about the father, the mother, anybody. The reason we did that was for the children. And they're comfortable and they get in trouble. I discipline them. I talk to them. We say the blessing, you know, we say their prayers at night. good in school, you know, they try to do the best. Joseph had a problem this year because he's got so much on his mind being separated from his mama, you know, and it was a lot of that, but, you know, the children did adapt well. They just, still, they want their mama every day, and they miss their nanny like crazy.
Yeah.
So, it's took a toll on them.
Any other concerns? It sounds like placement
Yeah.
might be a concern.
The biggest concern for me is, I guess the back and forth. Like, I don't know where the kids are gonna be.
Right.
Somebody call me, somebody can get the kids, and the next minute they can't, and it's like, I'm thinking about the best interest of these children, and, you know, I have a deadline to get kids out. Like, right now, Miss Poole can keep them.
Mr. Poole
Well, yeah, I'm
is gonna
sorry,
keep
Miss
them.
Poole can keep them. Oh, you're saying you can take custody. No, last time we talked, you couldn't. We just need something set in stone, because like you said, they can't be bounced around. And everybody has to follow a treatment plan, and it becomes an argument, and that's what I can't do. But everything is an argument. It does not have to be an argument. If we sit down and
How's
we be
Mr. Poole
civil.
gonna take custody of him when he works third shift?
Because they're gonna stay with me at night.
What was that? I missed that.
I
They're-
can't.
He wanted to know.
I mean, I know what he
Oh,
asked, but what was that?
They're gonna stay at my house.
And not even
James and I are
a week or
gonna
two
still
ago,
stay
there
in the
was a big
same
problem
house
with,
together.
they couldn't even take, none of, they could take two of them and send the other two
That's
to
why,
foster
that's why
care,
it's
not,
a concern.
and now all of a sudden they can
When we were
take 'em,
going
or he can take them
to
when he sleeps
separate,
all day and he goes to work at night.